guys hear me? Yes? Okay. We're going to get our event started. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for coming. It's really an honor to welcome everyone here today as we dedicate this bridge in memory of Colonel Daniel Lawrence Larry Rubini, a steadfast defender of liberty, a servant leader, and a true American hero. Thank you to everyone from our community who not only is joining us, but all of the people who helped to set up for today's event. There are a lot of people from our townships, our first responders, a number of folks who contributed, and I really just wanted to say thank you to them. I also wanted to say a special thank you to Senator Farry, because he helped to usher this bridge naming bill through the Senate after it passed the House, and then it was signed by Governor Shapiro. We will start off today's ceremony with the presentation of the colors by the Marine Corps League Honor Guard, followed by the singing of the National Anthem by Lisa Garner, and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Wendell Rich. Thank you so much.
Color guard! First colors! Forward! Raise it! Push!
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order! Up!
She's always a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I can't do it without facing. So let me turn around. I pledge allegiance
Raise it! Up!
to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order! March!
Post the colors.
Detail. Port arms. Right face. Forward. Forward.
connects people and places. It makes movement possible where it once was not. And as many of you probably remember, this bridge, which connects Northampton and Wrightstown Townships, needed substantial repairs many years ago. Then before the bridge issues could be fixed, Hurricane Ida floodwaters destroyed it in 2021. After construction began in 2022, it was completely redone the way you see today, and it reopened at the end of 2023, right before Colonel Rubini sadly passed away. This bridge connection for people in Bucks County is what Larry did across every chapter of his life. He connected institutions, ideas, and individuals. He guided foreign governments through legal reforms, worked alongside our troops in combat zones, and he mentored young professionals back home. Larry served in civil affairs with the United States Army Reserve during some of the most difficult chapters in modern military history. In places like Iraq, Haiti, and Kuwait, he helped rebuild justice systems from the ground up. He brought military leaders together, local officials, and community members to restore basic rights and the rule of law. He understood that peace could not last without justice, and he gave everything he had to help nations and people to rebuild. He brought that same quiet persistence to every chapter of his legal career. Larry helped establish the Washington's Crossing National Cemetery and advocated for translators whose lives were at risk. Larry always stood up for those who served and those who sacrificed. He believed in public service, valued integrity, and took action without needing recognition. His work left a lasting mark on the people and the institutions he served. I wanted to say thank you to the Rubini family for the privilege and honor of being able to dedicate this Bucks County Bridge in honor of him and all of his accomplishments. Now I would like to continue the ceremony by introducing Major General Thomas Matthews to share more about Colonel Rubini's remarkable life and contributions. And then we'll hear from Senator Farry and Congressman Fitzpatrick. Thank you very much.
Representative Kristin, I'd like to start by giving you a small memento of thanks. You were the point person for this whole thing. You were passionate about getting it through, and I just wanted to give you a memento. This is a 100-year anniversary coin from Post 79 in Newport, and it comes with conditions. You have to put this on your desk every day. Do what Larry would have done. Think about how you could help a veteran, a service member, or a first responder. So, thank you. Larry always told me, don't give anybody anything unless you get something back. Today is a little chilly, so I will be using the 3 B's of public speaking. Be nice, be brief, and be seated. Unfortunately, with Larry, the be brief part is going to be very challenging. Today, I believe the best place to start is by talking about America's secret weapon, family support. Larry held a full-time job. He was a member of a significant special operations unit. He deployed twice, once to the Middle East, twice to the Middle East. He accomplished complex missions in hazardous environments. He operated without distractions, totally focused, completely confident. His focus and confidence were enabled by an extraordinary family who always had his back. He met all the challenges abroad because his family met all the challenges at home. He served the nation for more than 3 decades, concurrently holding a challenging full-time job. I once asked him how he managed to accomplish all that, and he said, "I could never have done it without Joan and my family." Joan, Jeff, DJ, each of you has earned a piece of this bridge. On behalf of a grateful nation, thank you for the contributions and sacrifices that you made. It's also important to note that Larry's son Jeff served in the Coast Guard. I first met Larry when I was assigned as a brigade commander. Within days of my assignment, we experienced a serious incident. One of the lawyers at Fort Bragg decided he had to tell Larry how to do his job and how to manage the process. He called and started by telling Larry that Larry's first priority was to deal with the perpetrator and how and what he should do. Larry quickly responded, telling him that my first priority was supporting the victim and asking the victim what resolution they wanted. The call ended quickly, and we never heard from them again. I immediately concluded that I was blessed with a great attorney. During my tenure, we had many challenging missions. 2 of the most challenging were like camps for Cubans and then Haitians at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Larry did all the briefings for the legal responsibilities, all the ways to handle national and international responsibilities. We had no legal incidents in either of the tours, which speaks for how well Larry trained everybody. Larry served in 2 deployments in the Middle East. He almost wasn't approved for his last tour in Iraq. The position he was going to hold was being held by a 2-star general. The Army didn't believe that a colonel should replace a general, and they fought the assignment for a while. Fortunately, my boss was the incumbent. He knew Larry. He gave him an overwhelming endorsement, and at the end of the day, Larry far exceeded any expectation they had for that position. One of his cornerstone accomplishments was convincing Mike Fitzpatrick that Larry should become head of a Veterans Advisory Committee. Mike accepted his proposal, and that gave service members a seat at the table with a congressman. You can't get better than that, and our service members and our veterans really had a great gateway to someone that could help them. After almost every meeting, the committee provided the congressman a white paper on fraud, waste, abuse in the Veterans Administration, which was a big issue at that time. One of the most outrageous things we covered was VA spending on artwork. Over a period of more than 10 years, the VA spent $20 million on artwork. Over the same period, veterans weren't able to get appointments with medical people to take care of their treatment, and there was a major homeless problem with veterans in America. One of the pieces of art that we talked to the congressman about was a $500,000 rock that was placed in a courtyard. It had nothing on it, it was just a rock, and we paid $500,000 for that. The most outrageous issue was a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that they put on the side of a garage. And when asked about why they would spend $300,000 to put a quote on the side of the garage, they said veterans would take great comfort when they read that note from Eleanor Roosevelt. The only trouble with it was the saying was put in Morse code. Little hard for somebody to read Morse code, so $300,000 wasted. They probably could have spent another $20,000 to teach the veterans how to read dashes and dots. As a result of all the things we found, we communicated constantly with Congressman Mike and prepared him to go out and visit all of the Veterans Affairs facilities in the Philadelphia area to make sure that our veterans were being taken care of. Larry loved Washington's Crossing. He served as a Revolutionary War enactor. He regularly made trips to Washington Crossing. He selected all the speakers for significant events. One of them was Pete Hegseth, who then was with Fox News. He went on to become Secretary of Defense, and I'm sure his association with Larry had a lot to do with getting that job. On his many trips to Washington Crossing, Larry constantly passed a huge property. Everyone else who passed that saw a large field of dirt, weeds, and trees. Larry was a visionary. What he saw was a resting place for thousands of American heroes. Mike worked with Congressman Mike to get approval for Washington's Crossing Cemetery. Over time, the dirt, weeds, and trees were turned into Washington's Crossing Cemetery. The dirt, trees, and trees were transformed into hallowed ground by the remains of thousands of Americans whose remains are now placed in a world-class cemetery. Appropriately, Larry and Congressman Mike's final resting place was Washington's Crossing Cemetery. Larry turned Mike's conference room into a nexus of excellence for veterans and service members. We talked about how high school graduates were recognized for college acceptance, for graduating and going into college. However, military students who are going into the military, receive no recognition at all. Larry and I worked to create a ceremony, a big banquet, for every single high school student in Bucks County who was going into the military. The members received congressional certificates, coins, deliverables. Larry realized that the banquets would consume much of our time and efforts and distract from other initiatives. He turned the banquets over to several capable people who I believe are still continuing with the program. With little or no time on his hands, with a little more time on his hands, Larry came up with another challenge. For us, his most frightening words were, "I have an idea." Translation, put on your work clothes. He talked about how young folks entered the service as the top 30% of all of those in their peer group. Somehow, too many of them, when leaving the service, were getting into trouble and being sent to prison. Larry heard about a new concept, Veterans Court, and we decided to try to implement it in Bucks County. Larry had all the legal expertise. I used all my background and experience to create a cost-benefit proposal and present it to the Bucks County District Attorney. Larry set a date with the DA. I had a mission in Europe on that date. Larry said, "I don't want to do this without you." I said, "Larry, this is a can't-miss, must-accept proposal, and plus you have a big advantage over me. You're a lawyer. You know the secret lawyer handshake. You can get in there and convince this guy to accept it." He made a pitch to the DA, and the DA said, "It's a powerful presentation. The benefits and saving are overwhelming, but no, everybody benefits but me. I'm not going to do it." About 3 or 4 months later, I was watching the public broadcasting system, and who was on the panel but our DA? And I was shocked. He was on the panel bragging about a new idea he came up with, Veterans Court. Clearly, that was politics 101, but who cares? We got the thing started, and it started bare bones. It was tough to get it resourced, but when D.A. Weintraub came into office, he embraced the program and did everything he could to resource it. Today, it's working effectively to the benefits of veterans, the mentors, the prison, and the county. The savings to the county are absolutely overwhelming. Somehow, Larry came in contact with Vail Garvin, who at the time headed Central Bucks Chamber of Commerce. She loved military veterans. She wanted to do something. The idea came up to have an event at Bucks County Playhouse. I said, Larry, we don't have time to implement it. The shows are coming up. We have no money, no people, no structure, no authority. Larry's response was, great, let's get started. We are now on our 7th year of attending a play a year with approximately 70 to 90 veterans. Next year's play will be South Pacific. When Wendell Rich had to take over Larry's responsibilities, he discovered how much time, effort, and pressure was involved, and yet Larry was handling it all by himself. President Obama came up with a program to welcome home Vietnam-era veterans. He encouraged everyone to get involved. Larry decided we were going to be part of everybody. He ran 3 major events supporting the program. The events included USO entertainment, deliverables, speakers, political leaders. I don't think there was a finer event in the whole United States. In the interest of time, things ended up on the cutting floor. One of the most significant things was too long, but I'll give you the cliff notes. The Army was selecting a new home for a 4-star command, and we decided we were going to get involved and try to get that for Bucks County. We didn't represent any government. We had no authority. We had no money. We were not on the list invited to bid, and we weren't a finalist as the 10 top people, 10 top counties to be involved with the event. Somehow, thanks to the man standing at my right, Congressman Bryan, he managed to get us an appointment to make a presentation to the Secretary of the Army. Here was 4 guys with nothing except a lot of chutzpah who forced our way into the process and came very close to making the presentation. Unfortunately, the Secretary of the Army found out that the day before they had already awarded the thing to Austin, Texas. And I think over time that we proved Bucks County was the right choice. The people in Austin, Texas said that town has now turned into a third world country. Somehow Larry came in contact with, I'm sorry, move this on. As of today and going forward, this bridge represents the sum of personal values, accomplishments, and actions of Colonel Larry Rubini. It is yet another part of his incredible legacy. With most people, their legacies have a short life span. After getting a program started, Larry was smart enough to transition his accomplishments to individuals and organizations who could sustain and enhance them. It was a brilliant concept which will maximize the longevity and benefits of his work. America's great philosopher and Hall of Fame catcher from the New York Yankees once said, "Predicting is hard, particularly when you're talking about the future." Despite Yogi's wisdom, I predict that many of Larry's achievements will have a significant lifespan. I am most confident that Larry's most significant legacy, his involvement with Washington's Crossing, will last in perpetuity and beyond. on behalf of Larry's family, all who worked with him, and the veterans and service members he helped, I thank all of you who made this possible. May all those who crossed this bridge say a quick prayer for our veterans and service members. On behalf of Larry's family, all of those who worked with him, and the veterans and service members he helped, I thank all of you who made this event possible. God bless Larry and his family. God bless our service members and veterans. God bless each of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Major General Matthews for his remarks. Next, I would like to have Senator Frank Farry come up and say a few remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristin, to the Rubini family. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of this. One of the more special things we get to do as elected officials is to memorialize the men and women that have worn the uniform. And as we are here doing this today, we are carrying on Larry's legacy. General, I didn't know all of those things you said, but what a remarkable effort and individual, and what a difference he made. And one of the things I think makes Bucks County the great place it is to live is because people give back. And if you think about this, the men and women in uniform have already done a service for our country. They've already sacrificed. Their families have already sacrificed. But what I think is so great about our veterans community here in Bucks County is many of those same men and women come back here and continue to serve. They continue to make a difference. And as the General highlighted, Larry more than made a difference. I was actually at Washington Crossing Cemetery on Tuesday, where a B-17 pilot was laid to rest. His remains were identified in June. He literally spent 81 years with his remains in France. His living relatives, closest living relatives, are nieces and nephews, none of which were alive when he was killed in 1944. And you know, as I was there, it was a special moment for the family. One of the nephews was actually named for the first lieutenant, and it was special for them because they were at peace. Their parents, their grandparents, always hoped that his remains would be found and returned, and they were. And I talk about that because Larry, who we're memorializing here today, played a part in making that cemetery available for that family. And I just think that is so, so special. I can assure you that any funeral I will attend there in the future, I'll say a quick prayer for Larry and a quick thank you for him helping make that happen. So, you know, I was happy to partner with Representative Marcell, who led on this. She got it moving in the House. I was happy to carry the ball in the Senate. And to the Rubini family, thank you for allowing us to memorialize your loved one here today with this bridge. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Farry. Now we will have Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick come up as well.
Thank you, Kristin. Good morning, everybody. And I know every one of you have very, very busy schedules. The fact that you took time out of your busy schedule to be here today to honor Larry and his life, thank you for that. I know his family very much appreciates it. And bridges are built for passage, but they endure as markers. Markers of the places we've been, and markers of the values that we choose to carry forward. Today, we place the name of Colonel Daniel L. Rubini on this bridge, not simply to honor his lifetime of service, but to enshrine the extraordinary example that Larry set for his country, for his profession, and for this community. Larry's life was one of uncommon purpose, shaped by discipline, sustained by principle, and devoted always to his family, to his country, and to something greater than himself. Colonel Rubini's life traced the arc of a citizen who believed deeply in the promise of America, and he worked relentlessly to secure that promise. Larry brought American justice to places where it had no foothold at all. He helped restore what war and corruption had torn apart. He stood not only for strength, but for principle. He stood not only for the law, but for its fair and faithful application. And amongst his most lasting contributions was something incredibly profound. He fought alongside of my brother Mike to ensure that those who served this nation would have a place of rest worthy of their amazing sacrifice, a place of dignity, a place of permanence, and a place of honor. Because of that work, generations of American veterans now rest in these hallowed hills of Washington's Crossing National Cemetery, sacred ground that tells a story not of finality, but of continuity, of a republic whose defenders will never be forgotten because their example endures. This bridge now bears Larry's name, but it also carries a quiet charge to each and every one of us. It's a reminder that, like Larry, a life well lived is not measured in accolades, but rather in service to others. That strength is not found in standing apart, but in reaching across, as Larry always did. That what holds a nation together is the willingness of its people to serve something greater than themselves, to serve one another. Americans serving Americans. Let this bridge, from this day forward, stand not only as a piece of infrastructure, but as an instruction, a symbol of how we come together, of how we honor those who gave their lives to work for unification, for healing, and preserving this amazing great American experiment, this republic we call the United States of America. To Joan, to DJ, to Jeffrey, to the entire Rubini family, Larry served as my Veterans Advisory Council head as well. We miss him so much. He was a man not just of competence, he was a man of character. He had the heart of a lion. And he was somebody who did not have a bad bone in his body. We loved Larry. Everybody who met Larry loved Larry. And may God bless Colonel Daniel Rubini. And may God forever bless him, his family, and the United States of America. I now want to call forth Peter Chung, the military liaison for Pennsylvania's 1st Congressional District, to offer a flag for the family of the Rubinis, accompanied with a congressional record that will forever enshrine Larry's name in the halls of the United States Congress, making him permanently part of American history for his service to our nation and his service to our local Bucks County community, veterans and non-veterans alike.
Congressman Fitzpatrick. Now we will officially unveil the bridge name. Senator Farry, come forward with me. That will be a part of the permanent part of this bridge. I also wanted to mention that Senator Farry and I have citations that are from the Pennsylvania House and Pennsylvania Senate that also essentially capture this dedication as part of the history of both the Pennsylvania House and Senate, similar to the congressional record that the Congressman spoke about. I think maybe Senator Farry can provide those. Thank you very much. Before we unveil top of the bridge, we are going to have God Bless America being sung by Tiffany McKinney from Wrightstown. If you could please join me at the podium. Thank you.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
We're going to quickly go onto the bridge to take the unveiling down, and then we will wrap up the event and move to retire the colors. So Senator Farry and the family can join us to do that quickly, and then we will retire the colors. Thank you.
good news is that I'm a okay writer. The bad news is that I'm not the public speaker Dad was, or my brother is. It's a little too easy for me to let the emotion outgrow the words. So thanks in advance for bearing with me. To our members of the community, our local leaders, and our first responders, who I'm especially grateful for in the moment because I think I'm about to pass out, elected officials and their dedicated, capable staff, representatives of the Veterans Committee, and all of Dad's brothers and sisters in service, both civil and military. Our dear friends, the efforts leading to today's ceremony have affirmed a legacy of service and advocacy. On behalf of the Rubini family, I thank you for honoring Dad with this dedication. This bridge now stands as a symbol representing something far greater than a physical structure can support on its own, and that's a power of advocacy, it's a sense of duty. And a man whose legacy lives on through the actions of others at a time where advocacy is as important as ever. This dedication serves as a reminder and a it reminds me that the time and energy we invest in each other matters. That one person's commitment to service can become a pathway for others. Dad's life was all about building connections. He believed that when the right people are linked, noble initiatives receive their champions who will sustain honest efforts, leading to lasting and tangible change. This bridge, in my mind, best represents Dad's promise of connection and a path leading to future accomplishment. And shaking hands, telling stories, listening to stories today, I'm seeing in the faces of the people attending today the free paths that Dad walked in life. He was a warrior diplomat with Army Civil Affairs in service to his country. He was a local advocate in service to his neighbors, his friends, his colleagues, his community. He was a family man at home with us. Any parent knows that the best lessons between a father and child are taught by example, and as much as I miss him, I have my memories, and I have his example. And when I leave here today, I'll return to the path that I once walked with him, and this is I'll use his example as Leah and I raise our daughter to know the unconditional love and unending support he showed us. And with that anchored foundation in place, she'll have all the opportunities and tools she needs to carry that example even farther. At this moment, I want to address Dad's brothers and sisters in service. Your efforts, your presence, everything leading to today are especially meaningful. Dad's sense of duty to you, his respect for you, it comprised the core of his character. And my heart will be touched, is touched by the fact that this bridge stands not only with your support, but because of your support, and affirmed and validated in concrete and steel, his values, his life well lived, have been interwoven with this community's shared commitment to service and advocacy. And so after we all leave here today, we can all carry his example by endeavoring to build those new connections, being brave and bold enough to strengthen them when necessary, and having the perseverance to see it all through. Last but not least is teaching that example to those who will carry it next. In so doing, we'll create our own bridges. And in closing, I want to say this as plainly as I can. The effort leading to this dedication is a true demonstration of Dad's legacy. That's how you honor the man who loved the work more than the reward. And so with all the gratitude my head, heart, and soul can offer, I thank you.
Thank you so much. That was meant to be. Now we're going to move to retire the colors. If I can ask you to please remain in place. So please stay seated while we do so.
Detail, port, arms, retire the colors. Right, face. Forward, march.
Raise head, hook. Order, hook.
Thank you so much. I hope this bridge reminds us all